Hello and welcome to the very first episode of my new AI-only battle tournament that I'm hosting in Civilization 5. The way it's going to work is there's 64 civs, all base game, 43 civs participating, plus a few modded civs. Each civ is broken up into 4 different divisions depending where they are located geographically. So we have the European division, which is what this video is for, and then we also have a division for the Americas, Africa and Middle East combined into one, and Asia and Oceania combined into one. The European division won't have any mods since there are a perfect 16 European civs, not including the Huns, to fit in the division, which works with the mathematics of having 64 civs. Each battle will be a 1v1 v1 v1, so 4 civs included total. There will be 4 semifinals for each division, followed by a final, and then a world final, of course, to crown which civ is the best. On the south of the map here, we have Antium being founded by Rome. They're the first city to be settled, and we have another settler going up north a little bit towards the center. Each match will be taking place on this map. It's a custom-made map that I built quickly for this tournament. We have Cumae being settled up by the pearls and on the river. The map was very meticulously crafted to have even advantages spread across it, and it's symmetrical in all 4 corners. There we have Sparta being founded symmetrically from Antium. So you might notice that a little bit with the civs, is that they will settle symmetrically from each other since the AI believes that those are the best cities. However, I've pre-recorded this, and I can tell you for sure that this won't always be true, Cornith, and that some different civ AIs have different ideas of where to settle. Maybe because of their abilities, maybe because they're programmed differently, but they won't always be symmetrically settling, which is interesting, and I find it very interesting to see the different civs philosophies for settling. So here we have both Greece and Rome have settled symmetrically from each other with both 3 cities. This match in particular is going to be quite interesting because Venice, if you know anything about Civ 5, can't settle, and there's no city-states located on this map. So this match in particular is going to be different from the rest of them. The Byzantine Empire is off to a slower start. They haven't settled any cities, and they won't be able to settle symmetrically from Greece and Rome since those spots are taken. So it'll be interesting to see where they settle. I'm going to go into a little bit of the details of the map while we're waiting for things to get going. If you notice, let's start with where Antium is. There's a little pond located to the north of it. This pond is intentionally placed because civs in general in Civ 5 have trouble navigating ponds, and they often embark units that should not be embarked when they're trying to invade a city. Some civs are better at this than others. Some civs accommodate and build boats, some don't. So I think having this little geographic feature, again symmetrically on the top and bottom, is quite interesting to be a judgy character for the AI and how well they are at dealing with their geography and adapting. Over on the left-hand side, we have Adrianople being settled on the mountain in the jungle area. Speaking of jungle, on both sides of the map, there are 2 jungles surrounded by a forest. Each type, like land cover type, is being used on the map except for snow. Again, all symmetrically. It's going to be interesting to see which civs settle where. And the reason all of them are included is so that each civ that gets bonuses from different land cover types will be able to access their bonuses. In addition, it's just more fun that way. There is not every single resource in the game, though, as originally actually I had a different map version of this, but I had to redo it, and to be completely honest, I didn't feel like recounting everything to make sure I had every single luxury. So whatever we got to deal with. There's also an abundance of strategic resources to make sure that civs have enough of them to build their strategic units, but also build up a sizable army. There's not much really going on right now. We're at about turn 125. No wars have been declared. I can say I've recorded 5 of these, so the entire European division is done. Originally they were supposed to be time lapses, but I've decided to put some commentary over them. I might do live commentary for the other ones, I might not, I don't know. But I can say that this is one of the slower ones, and I decided just to upload this one first so I would have some more time to talk about the map and the different semantics of the tournament and things. I've not completely decided all the modded civs I'm going to be using, so if anyone has any recommendations, please feel free to put them in the comments. It might be too late. I might have already recorded ahead of time by the time I see your comment, but give it a shout. We'll see what I can do. And yeah, we're just really waiting for things to kick off. Rome, if anyone knows anything about Civ 5, they're a very slow starting Civ. Same really with Byzantium too. They used to like to stick with 2 to 3 cities. Greece is being less expansive than they usually are. I remember when I first recorded this, they were my pick to win this just because of how city spammy they are and how not city spammy the other countries on the map are. I thought they would get some dominance held early, maybe get El Dorado there in the middle, have some extra gold to sustain an earlier army, and be able to do some damage. It does not appear that to be what they're doing though. You can see Cumae has grown to El Dorado even though it was not settled, so they now have access to that surplus in gold. Rome is building some units, kind of their unique units there, the legions and the ballistas, but something like that is what replaces the catapult or trebuchet, one of the two, I don't remember exactly. And the Greeks have the Hoptite going on over there. Speaking of which, if anyone knows any better way to get rid of the pop-ups that pop up on screen, such as the Golden Age, and you know, like, who has the pointiest stick in the world? I currently had, well, not currently, when I was recording this, I had a rock sitting on my enter key. So if anyone knows a mod, Battle Royale won't work for me for some reason, it keeps crashing, that would be greatly appreciated. Again, we're kind of just at a standstill a little bit. Let's talk about the map a little bit more. In the center, as mentioned, there is one world wonder, El Dorado, surrounded by a bunch of silk. There are, yeah, just a bunch of silk in the center. There's no real other luxuries there besides the crabs and the pearls, which are in the water, and again, meant to test Civ's embarking abilities. If we look at Cumae and Corinth, they're actually in a pretty defensible spot, surrounded by 2 ponds and a river, and 1 hill. The only thing is it's pretty flat besides that 1 hill, so we'll see what ends up happening with these cities and if they're easily to take over or not. They are on a river as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. Antium and Sparta, of course, being on rivers. And I didn't even see Nicaea was settled kind of on the coast beside Venice there. Again, Venice being unable to settle is definitely a wild card in this game, since Byzantium is able to forward settle them and kind of get a city spot near them, which is interesting, versus in standard matches that might not always be possible because that city would have settled. Excuse me, I had to take a drink of water there. I'm not used to talking for this long. 8 minutes straight, that's crazy. What we got going on here? It kind of eyeball test, it looks like their armies are getting smaller, which is not what you want to see in this kind of AI only. It is set to domination only, so other victory types are not allowed, and the videos do go until one civ has taken all the other capitals. That civ will advance to the final 4. And let's actually talk about how the divisions are broken up. So we mentioned the divisions have geography for each of them, but the matches in them as well are split up by geography. So this is kind of like an Eastern Mediterranean European match, if you want to call it that. And then the rest of the European civs, the base game civs, are broken up into what I thought were appropriate geographies and cultural sort of areas. And I'll be doing my best to do that for the rest of the world, even if I'm not as knowledgeable for it. That's kind of how we got going. Now you might be wondering the placement of the civilizations, why they are in the order the way they are. Well, it's just alphabetical, starting at the top left corner in the way you would read. You have Byzantium, Greece, Republic of Venice, and Rome. So I decided to use what the scenario editor has in their alphabetical order instead of putting Rome ahead of Venice. Oh, we have a first world war. I'm going to interrupt myself. Byzantium has a little bit of an army that's going to go down on Venice. Let's see if they can do any damage down there. But as I was saying, just using the scenario editor to do more of an objective take, rather than having to decide each civ in their alphabetical order for some niche cases like Republic on Venice on my own. The Byzantine Empire is kind of getting a little bit destroyed. They do have way worse technology than the Venetians do. As you can see, they still have a plain archer versus some crossbowmen and some swordsmen. Yeah, that's insane. Versus if you look at Greece and Rome, we're already on to musketmen. Like, they're way ahead of the game of everyone at this point. It's looking like one of the two of them probably is going to be the victor. I think I mentioned it already, but I had pegged Greece to win this game, so we'll see what happens. And we have a peace deal already. That first war went absolutely nowhere. Venice has kind of just been wonder spamming, if you have noticed in the bottom right corner. They're kind of just grinding that. I think Venice right now is, actually we can't really see Nicaea, but I doubt it. Venice is the biggest city in the world. So, oh, actually no. Cumae is bigger than Venice, which is quite interesting. Venice is the biggest capital in the world. Also, religions for these kind of matches are going to be interesting because usually geographically the religions are kind of grouped together. So we had multiple countries fighting for Eastern Orthodox this time. I believe it was Byzantium who got it, and then Greece has Buddhism. Yeah, that looks about right just looking at the map. And obviously Buddhism was picked because they didn't get their first choice of Eastern Orthodoxy in this game. There seems to be some Roman troops on the Greek's border, but they're not really doing much. They're kind of just chilling, and as I say that, they move away. How sad. But yeah, each civ is kind of just building up their army a little bit. Not really even. To be honest, this is the most boring match, but it's got to be done, and it's good for some explanation. Let's dive a little bit more into the map while we're waiting. Let's look at their spawn points. So I did spawn them beside some uranium because if it gets that long in the game, I want every civ to have uranium and to see some nukes fly. This is pretty interesting. They also all have some access to silver and some fur for luxuries if they reach far enough, and even some wine or sugar if they go that far north. They're also on a river, and all the capitals are coastal, so they're able to be naval invaded, which is quite nice. Gives them naval civs a better advantage. Byzantium is going to try to go at it again, declaring war on Venice. If you don't know, you're looking at the notifications on the side. The civ of the right of the two is the one who declares on the other civ. They got some catapults going into Venice, but it's not going to really do anything as the Venetians destroy them quite easily. And there we go, Byzantium retreating. Wouldn't be surprised to see another peace deal in a few years' time. And there it is, just as predicted. These civs, while I have recorded multiple of these episodes, I don't really remember the fine details. Of course, I remember the winners, but that's about it. Let's look. Where are we looking? Not much is going on. We have some frigates being developed in the south by the Romans. Greece also has some frigates, and they have some cannons, which is getting interesting. The Romans do as well, too, actually. We're kind of bypassing medieval warfare for these two and kind of developing already in 1966, which is insane without Greece or Rome being at war at all. We have Taj Mahal being completed by Rome. Just some more city spam. I think I was talking about the map, we talked about the spawn points. We have some oil in the desert, kind of just to encourage civs to kind of go there, get some like game resources. There's also some oil beside the mountain in the jungle area, which is good for maybe some science advantages. If you want to develop an observatory, there's only 2 mountains on the map where that is possible on the east and west sides. It's not completely symmetrical, the map, as the east and the west sides are different from the north and south, but that's done on purpose. A thing that could be interesting to look at is if civs usually attack north-south or if they attack east-west, and which one's easier to do. I imagine north-south would be easier to attack since there's not the water problem, but you also have to deal with forests, so I think it could be a mixed bag depending on the civilization. Just blowing through these turns here. Rome defending Antium for some reason. I wonder if they're going to be planning an attack on Venice versus Corinth is kind of building up on the Roman border. Byzantium doesn't really have any army at all, which is not good for them. Venice has riflemen already. It's really for first out. I think my prediction when I was recording this live was Venice or Byzantium being first out, depending on who gets declared war on first. If Rome continued to kind of do nothing, then it would probably be Byzantium going first. If Greece continued to do nothing, probably be Venice first. But definitely one of those two civs are going to take out one of Venice or Byzantium. It doesn't look like they're going to do much damage to each other right now. Of course, the most interesting outcome is Greece Rome War, but the AI doesn't always go for the strongest opponent first. Sometimes it does, but not always. We have Neapolis being settled on the right-hand side of the map, not beside the mountain, so you won't be able to get the observatory, but they do have the gold and the cattle, and it is a decent city. Not great, but a decent spot for a city. Kind of just wonder spend a little bit more, waiting for some civs to build up their tech. Riflemen are becoming a little bit more common, even if they do have some musketmen still in their mix. I wonder if that's gold issues, if civs are struggling to get some gold to upgrade their units. Obviously, you still have some long swordsmen there from Rome. That's kind of some ancient technology. Excuse me. We're at the 15-minute mark. Not much has happened besides some Venetian and Byzantine wars. Kind of waiting still for everything to kind of kick off. An interesting thing about these battles as well is there are no barbarians, no city ruins. So the civs won't have to deal with those. It might also hurt some civ, such as Germany, who won't be able to get their unique bonus, but it's kind of even across the board as there's no city-states for places like Greece, Austria, or Venice to get their bonuses out of either, so you're kind of just playing the hand you're dealt with. Obviously, these tests, the more militaristic civs are going to be doing better. Also, I should mention random personalities is not on, so they are using their default personalities, plus a couple mods that I added, Smart AI and Aggressive and Expansive AI, kind of so that the civs aren't hopeless and actually can do something. I've done AI battles without those mods before, and they aren't entertaining to say the least. Even if this episode in particular is dragging, they usually won't be like this, trust me. We have some great war infantry being developed by Rome already, and they still have not declared war on anyone, which is quite interesting. He looks like he's exploring a little bit. Where's that guy going? On the north side of the Rome border. Rome expands and gets the aluminum tile. That's what we've resorted to in our commentary to talk about what's interesting. Theodora has entered the modern age. They are very behind in technology. If you look at the scoreboard too, that might be something interesting to look at. Rome was kind of dragging behind before, but they've shot up to first. Venice, obviously being a one-city power, has greatly lagged behind. It's smaller than Cumae is, Venice, still, even though it is catching up a bit, and it is by far still the biggest capital in the world. Some ideologies are being adopted, which, if you know anything about Civ 5 again, make civs more aggressive to each other with the ones of the opposite ideology. So let's see if this kickstarts some stuff, and it does. We have coalition war from Rome and Greece against Venice. Rome is going to benefit much more from that because they are on their border, and Greece has absolutely no troops near them. You can see the Romans moving their troops from Cumae and Antium into Venice there slowly, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Look at that horde going in. Venice has the technology disadvantage, and there's some Roman boats even going in, though Venice has been able to fend them off pretty well, whether it's the Romans reorganizing or they're just getting slaughtered by the Venetians, though they do have a host of troops to send in there if they're able to coordinate. This will help Greece as the Romans are losing their troops while Greece has a stockpile of them. They do have the technology or the military technology disadvantage though. We have our first time a city is being hit by the Romans, which they have a bunch of ranged units, cannons, and frigates attacking Venice. They've moved a few melee units in, and they should be able to take the city this turn. Yes, Venice has lost their capital, the first civ to fall, and they fall to the Romans. The Romans also have a plain now in Neapolis, and now Cumae, it's moving around a bit, or Antium maybe moved to, and it was built there. I didn't notice. Rome has now declared war against the Doja. They're doing a little bit of a rampage here, trying to take Nicaea right after taking Venice. They've felt some blood a little bit. I'm going to be going at it. The Romans are coming in from the south of Adrianople. They have taken Nicaea quite easily, and it is being raised, interesting enough. They do not want to keep that city. I was about to say Greece is doing nothing, but now they've declared war on Byzantium, trying to take Constantinople, I guess, before the Romans can come and sweep it through. There's been no aggression between Greece and Rome so far this game, even if they had a bunch of troops on each other's borders. The Byzantines are kind of being attacked from two sides. Adrianople fell and is being razed, versus the Greeks are trying to get across the water there with their units to take Constantinople. Rome doesn't really have much firepower in the area, and I don't remember exactly, but judging by this map, it should fall to Greece. Maybe not, actually. They don't have a melee unit in range, which Rome has a few of. And there we go. Rome took it, so I was wrong. Rome now has 3 capitals, 2 Greece is 1, and it's looking pretty dire for Greece, even on the scoreboard. I think you have to remember they are still at peace. I think they've actually not. Yeah, they've closed their military technology disadvantage. Greece has, but there's the Romans moving their troops in on Greece. They're going to get the attack first, and Rome declares. I don't know what happened to Greece's military. It kind of just disappeared. They're moving in on Sparta first. Let's pay attention to if they embark their units or not. They don't seem to be doing so. They are being smart, and they took Sparta, quite efficiently there. Corinth is also falling. Corinth falls, but Greece captures Sparta back, so it's a little bit of a back and forth we got going on here. Rome's army is a little bit decimated, and it looks like the campaign's pretty much over. Corinth is being razed. So Greece will live another day, and I don't think they'll have enough time to build up an army and take Corinth back before it's burnt to the ground. So they are kind of at a permanent disadvantage now. Sparta is being under attack again, and Rome builds Broadway while this is all happening. Something about circuses or whatever. Got some embarked artillery, which is not the smartest from Rome, so they are... Oh, there we go. They are embarking everything again and just pissing their units off to Sparta. Great strategically settled city, and a poor job by the Roman AI, even if they have done a great job so far. Rome kind of deployed the strategy of build up and then sweep everything all at once this game, instead of having little wars throughout, which seems to have been successful for them, in part because the other cities didn't really do anything. I mean, Byzantium tried to take over Venice, but they were kind of useless. So, not the best showing from them. So we're kind of just waiting here for Athens to fall, or for them to have a miracle comeback. It looks like they are still at war, and there are some destroyers, I think those are called, going in on Greece. Or Athens specifically, may that be, but it doesn't look like they're going to be that effective as they went in alone. We got some artillery and some machine guns going in now, followed by some Great War infantry and melee units, and there we go. Athens has fallen, and Rome has won this round, and they will be moving on to the European final. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope you watch the next one. Bye!